Coming up today in Eagle Eyes on Tech, malware was found on Steam. We'll get the details as to what we mean by that. Nvidia power cables are melting, and this time we know exactly why they are. Reddit wants to paywall its users, and Apple has a new announcement coming soon, but they only wanted to show us a logo just to keep us guessing. All that and more coming up today on Eagle Eyes on Tech. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, North Story. I'm going to bring you this Eagle Eyes on Tech. I'm Eagle Falcon. We have a lot to go over today, but you know, we got to cover some of the basics for starters, such as I am stunned anytime there is just absolute gross incompetence. Like, especially when it comes to an organization that their sole purpose is to point out other bits of incompetence. That's their claimed point. But apparently the website for Doge.gov was so badly made that their database for how the website runs was left wide open, meaning people could just add entries to the database and just make up whatever they want and publish whatever BS they wanted to the website with guest permissions. Look, I get the whole point of Doge.gov, which, by the way, is still the dumbest and memeiest thing I've ever heard in my life, is to be trying to work on efficiency. But hear me out. Paying little Timmy $5 to design a website may not have been your wisest investment. As of this time, there has not been any statements from Doge, but you know, here we are. I just want to know why. How could you fail this hard? Like, you actually have to try to fail this hard. Like, it takes effort to suck this much at going ahead and making a website. I have a freaking better website for freaking my hobbies. Is it like this? I can't get over. I cannot get over just how colossally bad this is. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, back when I ran, you know, private servers for Ragnarok Online, I don't anymore. Don't come after me, Gravity. We had a more secure system in place. Mostly because all we had to do was just make it so that guest had read-only permissions. That's all you had to do to be better than Doge. Don't give guest read-write permissions. If you ever wonder whether you live in a clown world or not, there you go. You now know. Meanwhile, in other decisions made by the federal government, Google has now officially changed the name of the big Gulf in the Western Hemisphere. It is now going to show up as the Gulf of America. Here's the funny thing, though. They did it passive aggressively. They like tried to go ahead and make everyone happy, like a bunch of little twits. All right. In the US, if you try to view the map, it'll say the Gulf of America. In Mexico, it'll say the Gulf of Mexico. If you're anywhere else in the world, it'll say the Gulf of Mexico, parentheses, Gulf of America. Now, for the most part, as far as like this whole issue goes, I have seen 3 opinions. This is stupid and the worst thing that Hitler Satan has done since ever. This is funny because it's making other people on the internet hilariously angry. And I really don't care. But as far as I can tell, I can't find anyone that's like enthusiastically in favor of the name change. I don't get why we did it. However, I want to present to you logic. All right? I want to present to you logic. why the Gulf of America should be the Gulf's actual name. Hear me out, okay? Let's first establish a couple of things, okay? The country I live in is not America. It is the United States of America. In fact, the entire massive landmass that makes up pretty much all of the Western Hemisphere used to just be called the Americas. Heck, it's even split North America, South America, Central America. So by going through this, all right, the Gulf, which is the biggest Gulf in the entire Western Hemisphere, realistically, the United States does cover more of the Gulf than Mexico, but a bigger percentage of Mexico covers it compared to the United States. But by naming it the Gulf of America, the current administration has comically, accidentally invoked the will of the Soviet Union and has now made it our Gulf. They have made it the entire Western Hemisphere's Gulf because America refers to just all major landmasses in the Western Hemisphere. It's our Gulf. Yes, I know that's stupid logic, but you know what? It amuses me. And quite frankly, considering the fact that the whole thing is stupid and really, really petty, I just don't care enough. Someone in chat says, what an easy way to remove oil drilling restrictions. Just change the name of the land you restricted the drilling on. That's the Galaxy Brain play. Yes, it's the People's Gulf. Exactly. It's our Gulf. So yeah, you're starting to see map applications start to change the name to the Gulf of America instead of the Gulf of Mexico. And quite frankly, I don't care enough to cheer or be angry about it. I feel like in today's day and age, there's far bigger things to be concerned with. There's far bigger things for me to spend energy on, you know? Like over the convoluted plan as to why it's the People's Republic Gulf of the entire Western Hemisphere. Oh, all right, that's sufficiently stupid. Let's move on. Valve had to put out a very concerning recommendation to people who went and downloaded a game. They went ahead and said that Valve recommends a full PC reset if you went ahead and downloaded this malware infected game. The game in question, which I'm very quickly trying to find. Oh, we don't even know anymore. Apparently it's been removed. Just straight up. Oh, here we go. The game known as Pirate Fi was released on Steam, and very shortly after it's released, it has already been removed, and Steam fully recommends if you went and downloaded this game, you should perform a full PC reset just to be safe after it was found that this game, Pirate Fi, was in fact infected with malware. Now, what I want to know is how did this get past the approval process? Because Valve has to go ahead and approve games that are being put on the Steam. They also have to go ahead and make sure that that in fact your check clears. Because you have to pay like $100 deposit to go ahead and list your game on Steam. So, I mean, that's just about the most of it. The game was really just like a survival game, but it was supposed to be more Sea of Thieves like, so you were on the ocean a lot of the time, or, you know, just being infected with malware. Because, yay. I do wonder if this game did push itself out there and it was malware free at first, and then they pushed on a day one patch and that had the malware. Because, I mean, Steam's done this for a long time, and there's no way no one has not tried this before. I'm still trying to wrap my head around how they got around this. But I guess for the most part, only time will tell, and we'll find out more when, when Valve goes ahead and talks about it. They're probably not going to tell us exactly how it got through. They're just going to go ahead and implement protocols to make sure it doesn't happen again. In other words, the TikTok ban actually, technically, for real now, is in fact lifted. Remember how I said before the TikTok ban was halted, but not really, because the actual letter of the TikTok ban was still being enforced because the main thing of the TikTok ban was that you could not download TikTok or other apps from ByteDance on app stores. That is no longer the case. TikTok and CapCut are now at the top of Apple's App Store downloads, as you can now go ahead and download them. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not sure how well CapCut works. I kind of want to download it just to see how it's like, but I don't want to install things on my phone, you know? But after their ban was lifted, they have shot up to the top of the App Store charts. I am not surprised, as people are just like, oh, I gotta get it before it goes. Oh God, I gotta get it before it goes. I need my fix. I need my fix. People are not hopelessly addicted to TikTok. Why would you think that? So yeah, TikTok back on the App Store. All there for everyone to go ahead and download as they see fit. Why? I'm not sure. They could just go to the website and it's going to be a little more secure. Good for you, I guess. Yay. Meanwhile, though, in the AI world, OpenAI is going to be finalizing their very first chip design this year. This is going to be specifically meant to be a AI focused chip and will in fact weaken their OpenAI's dependency on Nvidia. Is it weird that normally when I just kind of root against AI in every way, shape, and form, I kind of want to root for them just because it means that Nvidia actually has to go ahead and pay attention to their consumers instead of just blatantly chasing after the AI train because it's printing money for them like nobody's business. Like right now, Nvidia is like no consumer's friend. I've even said this before. Literally the only reason why Nvidia cards are in my PCs is because one, I got a good deal on one of the cards, and the other one was because you almost need some of the tools that Nvidia integrates on their cards for broadcast, because Nvidia has basically bribed so much of the industry to use the NVENC encoder and use it well, that if you're not using the NVENC encoder, you're making yourself suffer. Or specifically now, it's not their NVENC, it's their there's a new encoder out in Nvidia. Everyone has one, and they're all like slightly different. This is actually driving me nuts now. HEC1, I think. Now this is the thing that's going to actually drive me nuts. AV1. Yes, like Twitch right now has a contract with Nvidia that says like if you want to go ahead and guarantee certain things about your stream, you have to use the HV1 Nvidia encoder, not the AMD one, or preferably the Intel one, which is really, really infuriating. Because I mean, here's something to ask yourself. Before the 5000 series, what was Nvidia's budget chip and how much did it cost? Does anyone know? I know it cut out a lot of silence, so I gotta like say nonsense. Do you know? It was the 4060, and it was $300 on a good day. Do you know how much an entry-level card used to be? An entry-level card used to be, not even kidding, it used to be $120. That's where the 50 series started. I mean, not the 50 series, the 50 tier. There's no reason now for Nvidia to make one. Because why go ahead and make anything cheap or affordable when they can go ahead and just make bank? It's aggravating. It is aggravating beyond recognition. Look at the state right now. You can't buy a 5090 or a 5080, and the performance doesn't make any sense. But you're going to go get a 5080 because you can't get a 4080 without going to the used market. So anything that can be done to shove back against Nvidia, because I can't count on Intel or AMD to do it. I can't. They keep screwing it up. At least Intel has the excuse of they are just getting into the GPU space. AMD's excuse in the GPU space that they suck. It really is just that simple at this point. I hate to say it, but it is. So yeah, I hope OpenAI's chip does really well. I hope it does really well because I want to see some good performance per watt improvements over the gajillion gigawatts that AI data centers take now, which is just insane that we're consuming what has to be insane, underlying insane amounts of power to go ahead and have a robot tell you to mix bleach and ammonia for a tasty treat. It's just, AI is so infuriating. There's no other way to say it. Here's what I will say though. Reuters did in fact win a major AI copyright case. Granted, it's against an old version of AI. There wasn't anything generative about it, but that is the case in favor of the humans that would now set a precedent, potentially moving forward as we begin to wonder, how does the copyright with something like AI work? And the real answer at this time is we still have no freaking idea, which is just all kinds of fantastic. Yay. So all I can say is huzzah, huzzah, huzzah. Meanwhile, though, here's a fun little graph from Axios. Now, the title is a little silly, but the information it provides is interesting. Axios went and put out a poll from people in different countries asking how much do they trust AI technology. It was a survey of 32,000 adults in 28 countries conducted last year in 2024. The top 8 was Germany with 29%, then us with 32%, Japan with 38%. I'm actually kind of surprised Japan wasn't higher. South Korea with 50%, Brazil with 52%, Mexico with 55%, China with 72%, and India with 77%. I don't want to sound racist in this, but I do want to know what the professions of a majority of the survey takers in India were. Come on, that's not a thought that entered your head too. You want to know how many of the people that answered actually were the scammer types. It's like, I love AI. Works great for me. But yeah, the notable one here, aside from India, is China. And that's where Axios kind of goes, just like, oh, China's trust in AI is greater than the US. You want to know why China's trust in AI is greater than the US? Because the Chinese government is developing the AI. And everyone in China is basically told, you love your government, or else. You love it, don't you? Yay! That's just how it kind of goes over there. It's just the mentality. They see the development of AI as an arms race. While here in the US, we don't have that kind of mentality. In fact, a lot of people here in the US look at generative AI and go, okay, but why though? Like, what good does this do for us? And people still don't know. To this day, there isn't really a good reason as to how, yes, generative AI is going to make your life so much better because XYZ ABC. Whereas China is just like, oh yeah, we're going to be better at AI because China #1. It wouldn't surprise me at all if that's actually why. Actually, is India developing an AI now that I think about it? Yeah, there actually are several AI projects in India. So yeah, there might be a bit of just hometown cheering in that regard too. Granted, in India, it's a lot less, what's the right term for it? Dictatorial than in China. This conversation is getting awkward. Yeah, this is just a fascinating little thing. But it just is what it is. In fact, I think at this point we kind of need a bit of a palate cleanser. Let's take a quick break here. When we come back, I want to dive a bit more into rumors about the next Nvidia GPUs. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back. Welcome back, Eagle Eyes on Tech. I'm Eagle Falcon. All right, so Nvidia, of course, they have scalping problems, mostly because I have a feeling that Nvidia doesn't mind the low supply, the problems they have currently with supply, just because it means that it creates an artificial demand. It makes people think that, oh man, all my friends want it because there's none of them. I need to get mine too. I am convinced that this plays a role. There's one other thing that also definitely plays a role, and that's the fact that Nvidia picked the absolute worst time to launch these cards. They launched them right before the Chinese New Year, so factories just shut down for a week, so they're not working to make anything, including these cards. Good job Nvidia. But then of course the scalping problem isn't helping either, and for whatever reason people are dumb enough to buy from these scalpers. Just don't. You don't need a first off, it's debatable whether you need to get a $2,000 GPU anyway. You definitely don't need to get a $2,000 GPU for $6,000. Stunning concept, I know. Getting ripped off for 200% of the price, not a great plan, not a financially sound business decision. So Zotac, rather than going through retail outlets, they are literally, not figuratively, literally trying to fight scalpers by selling GeForce RTX 50 series GPUs directly via Discord channels. I'm not gonna lie, it's a decent idea. It's not the worst idea that's ever been had. However, here's my counterpoint. Jay's 2 cents was giving away cards to his fans in person, at least one of which he signed. That card was then found on Facebook Marketplace for $5,000. We can try all we want, but the only way we're going to get around scalpers scalping is just tell people, you don't buy these ever. Don't. Bad. That's going to be the answer no matter what. Because as long as scalping is worthwhile, by God, scalpers are going to do it, and there's nothing we can do to stop it. As much as we want there to be something we can do to stop it. I think one day we'll be free of this. This is just a part of life now. Computer components selling for $6,000. It's nuts. It's just infuriating. It really, really is. You know what's made it even worse? Remember how the RTX 4090, 4080, 4080 Ti, a lot of these had melting power cables and cards were catching fire in cases? It's back. Cards are once again melting cables. So now you have the 40 series and the 50 series both that use these 12-pin connectors that are just melting inside the case. Guess what? We now know why. People have gone through, went ahead and tested this. And I want to stress something. These are independent testers. Hobbyists, enthusiasts, and independent reviewers found why these cards have been melting cables for 2 years. And that's because there's no load balancing. The card can draw up to 50 amps on the 12-volt rail. And it draws all 50 amps over one wire. Over one wire that is made smaller than a conventional cable. I want to stress this part right here. Okay? This port right here, this 12-pin connector, is roughly the size of an 8-pin connector on your cheaper GPUs. These 12 wires are tiny. They are low. They are a higher gauge, which means they are narrower and have more resistance than ones you'd find on other cards, carrying more amps, carrying more power. And rather than distribute the load, having any sort of power distribution over the cable, because the first iteration of this, the 30 series used, it would distribute it over 3 separate cables. That was the standard. The 12 voltage high power connector does not. It has been found, it can draw up to 50 amps over one wire. This design is some clown world nonsense. I want to use much stronger language. I'm not going to lie. I want to use much stronger language because this is one of the most valuable companies on the planet. This is one of the most highly valued companies on the planet. One of the biggest technology companies on the planet. And you dumb flea bags can't figure out that pushing 50 amps over a high gauge wire is a bad idea? You idiots couldn't go ahead and put a thermal cam to the GPUs that you were testing before pushing this stuff out? Are you freaking insane? How absolutely brain dead are you, Nvidia? Now, I am a firm believer in something known as Heron's razor. Heron's razor is the philosophy that you should never assume malice when stupidity can equally explain what happened. All right, fine. I'll put the tinfoil hat away. I'm not going to accuse them of this being intentional, that they intentionally want to ruin your $2,000 investment, that this is in fact incompetence. All right? You let this go for 2 years. You didn't even bother looking into the connector. You didn't even bother figuring out that, hey, maybe, just maybe, pushing 50 amps through one of the 12 wires on this connector is a bad idea, and that's what caused the whole thing before. No, instead, here's the thing that slays me. Board partners, power supply manufacturers, they tried to blame us. They tried to and successfully gaslit you. They gaslit me. They gaslit every single sucker who bought a 40 series GPU. They gaslit every single one of us into thinking that, no, the cable's fine. You just didn't push it in enough. We now know better. We now know, no, it wasn't us. In some cases, it might have been. A few times it actually was. But I said before, maybe it's not the fact that users aren't pushing it all the way. Maybe it's the fact you made a connector so badly that it could make poor content and catch fire. That was my point of view. Lo and behold, I was right. The connector is defective for a far stupider reason. So, I mean, here's my recommendation right here. Before you buy any of these Nvidia cards, see if they got a 12-pin connector. If they have a 12-pin connector, don't buy it. It's a hazard. Because by its design, it is designed so poorly that it can, in fact, reach critically high temperatures, melt, or combust. And I don't see how anyone in their right mind would look at that and go, that's fine, I could just push it in further. It's not. It has nothing to do with the connections. It has nothing to do with user error. It is all the design of the cable. It is the cable's fault that we don't have a good method for securing it in correctly. It is the cable's fault and the spec's fault that it is not load distributing all of these amps across the many wires that it has, or, maybe just make a more robust connection. How many of you, when you get a higher power device, whether it be, an oven or a dryer or pick an appliance, all right, how many of you, when you get a newer version of, say, your electric dryer, is it just like, oh, the cable's thinner, that must mean it's higher quality? How many of you look at a power cable, see that it's thinner, consuming the same amount of power, and go, oh yeah, that's the good stuff? Just all I can do is shake my head at this. It's infuriating. There's no other way to describe this. You know what's even worse? Nvidia put themselves into a corner, all right? Because with the 5090, they went ahead and made this so tiny. Let's pretend we want to get rid of this, all right? We want to get rid of the 600. Someone in chat asked, how many times can we plug and unplug these before there's a chance of failure? 1. The problem is not the connection. The problem with these is the fact that it's high gauge wire, meaning that it's very thin with high resistance, and it's drawing 600 watts of power or 50 amps over one wire. If it's not in all the way, it's going to heat up at the highest point of resistance, which would be a bad connection. That's what it is. It has nothing to do with how many times you be plugged and unplugged. But I want you to look at the board for the RTX 5090. Look at this. Let's pretend we want to get rid of the 12-pin connector. For 600 watts, you would need 4 8-pin connectors. How do I get 4 8-pin connectors onto this little board? Like, where would it go? I'll be honest, I don't know. You would have to extend the board out to handle that, and then have new traces to go ahead and distribute all that power. You'd have no choice. And I just got to ask Nvidia, is this worth it? So no, before you hear that, oh, cables are melting, it's no big deal, or oh, it's just user error. No, just no. It's not your fault. And quite frankly, it might have never been our fault. AMD might actually be cooking though. Rumors are saying the RX 9050 XT might in fact have 32 gigabytes of VRAM, even though AMD has then gone out and said that there is no 32 gigabyte RX 9070 XT. Instead, it's going to have 16 gig. I'm not going to lie. AMD, if you're going to compete with Nvidia, you need to hit them where it hurts. I'll just be blunt. Nvidia right now has the problem that all of the 5000 series GPUs have the same VRAM as the previous gen, and it's intentionally done so. Someone in chat says they sell the 5090 to plebs. They don't care. They will if there's a class action lawsuit. They will care the moment they're held accountable for someone's home burning down. They will care the moment they have to go back to the plebs because the ASIC chips take over for AI and Nvidia has nothing anymore. Right now, you're right. Nvidia doesn't care because 90% of their market is AI. And they're already starting to pivot to robotics, assuming AI doesn't pan out. But the instant these actually cause a problem, concerns start to come up. Because let me ask you this, all right? Let's pretend for a minute I'm not a pleb. Let's pretend for a second I am a professional, okay? That I want to go ahead and I want to get a whole bunch of GPUs for workstations. Do you think I'm going to be really happy about that if it turns out that my GPUs are using the exact same 12-pin connector that caught fire in home outfits? Do you think I'd want that in my workstations or my servers? And I did want to go ahead and find a picture of a professional card that Nvidia sells currently. And there we go. We can see it. 12-pin connectors right there. That sounds like a wise investment. It's very difficult to justify that, isn't it? So all I can say to that is we'll have to see. And I do hope that AMD does leverage the VRAM. I really do. I hope they load these GPUs up with VRAM because NVIDIA's GPUs right now, they don't have it. They are short on the VRAM. They just put in the exact same amount of VRAM except for the 5090 as all their previous gen cards, and already before the cards are even out, you're running out of VRAM space. And they're trying to say like, oh, but because of AI generation and all sorts of this and that, you don't need as much VRAM. I'm sorry. I've listened to Apple enough to know that excuse is BS. And sure enough, already, yeah, the excuse is BS. I can't believe they actually tried that excuse. Does anyone actually buy that excuse? Like, seriously? Does anyone buy the excuse that because of AI, you don't need as much VRAM? If you, for some reason, do believe that you don't need as much VRAM because AI consumes boatloads of VRAM. It is why the 5090 requires so much, and it's why the AI cards have tons upon tons of VRAM on it. AI, by its very nature, consumes VRAM. It is like saying that my semi-truck doesn't need as much diesel because it's a semi-truck. No! That's a terrible analogy. It works just because it's as stupid as Nvidia's excuse. In other news, though, the 5070 Ti may be around the corner, and a leak suggests that the 5070 Ti might be as high as $1,000. And you wonder why the PC building space feels deader and deader. One of the appeals of building your own PC was that, I could pick the highest end components. I could go ahead and pick out exactly what I'd sort of want. $1,000 for a tier of card that used to be second from the top. This is the kind of card that used to go for $400. Now it's the whole cost of the rig. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. I know I'm going to say that every single time there's a new Nvidia GPU with a new price point, with a new this, a new that, and then it turns out, oh, hey, look, the card isn't as good as we expected. But if you want to go ahead and just let AI hallucinate some frames for you, woo, that card puts out some frames that get a little wonky for a bit before snapping back to reality every 10th of a second. I can't stress this enough. I hate this. I keep wondering to myself, the last time I built a computer, it was an AMD dual core, an Athlon 64 2X. I think that was the model. I actually don't remember. Might even been a single core. It might have just been an Athlon 64. I love building that thing. It wasn't a great computer. I could have done way better. That was the last computer I built, and that was back in middle school. Since then, high schooler and a college, someone in chat says it was an AMD pile driver. It was not. It was before pile driver. Way before pile driver. It was back when AMD was actually better than Intel. Long ago. Before Intel had dominance. And then AMD took it back. It was a different time back then. And since then, it's just more cost effective to just refurbish old PCs and just tweak them to be a little better. And that's how I've pretty much been operating. And I keep wondering to myself, when are things gonna be good enough that I could build my own PC again? And I see stuff like this. We're a non-flagship, non-Halo product is going to be 4 digits. Someone in chat says Intel GPU. I want to believe in them, but I touched too many older games, and Intel is just terrible at rendering older games. They just suck at it. Maybe they'll change one day. Also, new reports also show that the RTX 5070 is being delayed until March 5th. That's good. Just push out my range of disappointment as far out as you can. That'd be great. Yeah, whatever. Just let me know when it launches so we can find out that, the 5070 does not, in fact, perform as well as a 4090. Remember that one, by the way. Remember that when the independent reviews come out, that Nvidia claimed 5070 as good a performance as a 4090. Because you want my bold claim? Here's my bold claim. I don't think this card is going to perform better than a 3090. I think a 3090 will outperform it. I think a 3080 will match it. Because I have to go with my gut. I have to go with the history that Nvidia has given me. Nvidia has given me a history lately of cards that underperform compared to what their predecessors did, and relying way too much on AI generated gimmicks that produce technically better results, but have the quality of crap. Like, I'm sorry, that's what Nvidia has given me lately, and I'm not amused. I just am not. But that's just how Nvidia is nowadays. It just is what it is. We're going to take our last break here. When we come back, I want to talk about Intel's new laptops, as well as some disappointing stuff like Jeep putting ads into their cars. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back. Welcome back, Eagle Eyes on Tech. I'm Eagle Falcon. All right, so Intel's been in a bad spot lately. Their GPUs are respectable, but have problems. They're losing ground in the enterprise space, and a couple generations of desktop CPUs self-destruct. It's the polite way of saying it. So they need a win. Early reports are coming in showing that the latest Intel Core Ultra 200 laptop CPUs apparently are delivering fantastic performance, although its AI performance is lacking. But here's my real question. What sane human being is using AI on a local machine? Like, seriously. The actual statement here from PC World is that its AI performance is lacking. What AI applications are you running on your laptop? What, you wanted to quickly go ahead and make a horrible abomination? Did you want to go ahead and ask your porn bot out on a date on your laptop? They have websites for that, you know that, right? I mean, you probably shouldn't, but you know. Like, what actual local on-device application are you running that requires AI performance? Actually, someone in chat said fake frames. That's an Nvidia thing. A for effort, though. A for effort. No, that specifically needs an AI card. Or an Nvidia card, which is also an AI card. So, I mean, realistically, for most laptop people, if it's good, it's good. I need a laptop to do laptop things. I don't need it to go ahead and run an AI model. I don't need it to power who knows what. You know, I just want a laptop to do laptop things. I think that's what most people want out of a laptop. It's to compute. I need a computer to compute. I don't need it to generate text or try to cheat on homework or create horrifying art that no one likes. Someone in chat says microphone audio enhancement. Excellent. Now it's a fake voice going through instead of my real one. Amazing. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how things go. This is just kind of an early look right now. We'll see how things go. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's like some big thing that you need AI performance to do. I don't know. Maybe I'll find it on a brand new subreddit. Unfortunately, though, I can't get to that subreddit because it will be locked behind a paywall. Yeah, apparently, Reddit is experimenting with the idea of paywalling certain subreddits. Now, the concept is that it's information that only some Redditors will be able to see, rather than just being like, oh, yes. Someone said their bidet needs that sweet AI processing. You see, the bidet is using pressure sensing technology to sense how the water is flowing. And then by using the power of generative AI, it will draw a picture using the data it collected from its own water to draw you an AI generated picture of your butt. What else would your bidet use AI for? Coming soon to a CES near you. The butt drawing bidet. For those who are tuning in and out of the podcast, that was a joke. That is not a real thing that really exists. I need to clarify that because, man, does it seem like some of the nonsense we get out of the tech space some days really does cross the line of absurd fiction. But yeah, paywalls and Reddit. It's what people wanted, right? Right? Let me tell you something, all right? I want to pretend for a minute that I'm a big streamer. I'm not, but let's pretend I am for a second. Let's pretend for a minute I get somewhere around 500 to 10,000 or 500 to 1,000 viewers per stream. But I have like a community of like tens of thousands, all right? And I want to go ahead and to make sure I can pay my bills, I go ahead and create a paywall on my own subreddit. Here's my question. Why would I use Reddit for that instead of just Patreon or Ko-Fi or many of the other methods of content generation that already have like a built-in and trusted method of putting a paywall around content. Like, seriously, who is the paywall for? Assuming that it's owners of the subreddit that set up the paywall. Now, if it's Reddit themselves that just arbitrarily put up a paywall around stuff, oh man, that's so much worse. We'll have to see what Reddit plans on doing with this. They say that Reddit's paywall would ostensibly only apply to certain new subreddit types, not any subreddits currently available, which tells us exactly nothing. So it's only going to be new subreddits, whatever that means. Someone in my chat has now linked me a picture or a guide about installing a wireless router that I think monitors your bowel movements. And I don't know if it's real or not. I'm just going to move on the dystopian horror picture that is Jeep putting in an ad in their new Jeeps for their Flex Care Extended Care Premium plans that are factory backed and offer you peace of mind in case of mechanical breakdown. Press the call button and speak to a specialist. Odometer must be less than 36,000 miles to purchase this. Apparently, according to a Redditor that may or may not be behind a paywall down the road, it comes back this ad comes back every time you stop, even if you hit okay. This actually feels like a nightmare. Like, what else can you say about this? Oh man, thank God. Thank merciful God. I don't get enough calls from fake people about my car's extended warranty. Jeep thought that the only reason that scammers keep trying the car's extended warranty scam is because people actually want a car extended warranty. So they're going to offer you a car extended warranty in your car. Do we live in a cyberpunk dystopia yet? Like, what is the threshold to actually be officially becoming a cyberpunk dystopia? Like, do we need to have the ability to implant technology into our bodies to become a cyber? Oh, we can already do that. The like neuronet thing that Elon's company did that has a name that I forgot. Oh, but we don't have light up. Oh wait, we have light up clothes. I think there actually is a good argument to make that yeah, we in fact do live in a cyberpunk dystopia. Don't like that. I hate that. That's is there something that can distract me from the fact that I actually might in fact live in a cyberpunk dystopia? Oh, Apple is having a new announcement for a brand new product. Maybe I actually am making my point with my segue. I digress though. Apple actually is launching a new event of some kind for February 19th. And quite frankly, nobody knows what it is. All it is that it's talking about the newest member of the family. And it gave us a silver chrome like Apple logo. It's all we know for certain. Now, there's some rumors coming out about it being an iPhone SE, which is Apple's like once every 4 years ultra cheap phone that's based on an older model of phone, but available with modern hardware for like stupid cheap, like $300 cheap usually. And we're getting to about the time where we've gone quite a few years without an iPhone SE update. Like, it's been a hot minute, so things kind of line up for an iPhone SE. However, hear me out. What if Apple is taking their new dominance in the budget desktop space? Because right now, here's the wild thing. I don't know how we ended up in this timeline, but Apple really does have the best bang for the buck desktop in the form of the ultra cheap Mac Mini. In the form of the $600 Mac Mini, Apple is the king of performance per dollar. I don't know how we ended up in this timeline, but that's where we are right now. All right. What if, realizing their new dominance in this space, they want to take that to the portable market, and Apple releases the MacBook Mini, a 7-inch netbook that starts at $650 that runs on an M2 processor. They're going to bring the netbook back. Could you imagine if Apple brought the netbook back? Like, of all people to be the saviors of budget, it's frickin' Apple that does it. No. Better yet. Apple releases a brand new plug-in GPU for PC builders to go head to head with Nvidia and undercut Nvidia by $10 while somehow matching performance. What other incredibly stupid thing could this be? Like, I agree. I do think it is going to be the iPhone SE. Like, everything lines up for it to be the iPhone SE. But let's have fun with this. We could come up with something really stupid. Ooh. Is an Apple printer that doesn't jam. And the printer will have AI. Like, Apple Intelligence actually has not been all that great, if memory serves. Like, it has been a major disappointment. Like most things AI. But it just is what it is. So yeah, we'll find out Wednesday. I'll try to have a breaking news episode once we know what it is. Expect that in the feed. That's all I can say. In a rare moment of Apple actually deciding maybe we should go ahead and support things other than ourselves, the Apple TV app is now available on Android. You no longer have to have an Apple device to watch Apple TV. It is almost like current Apple learned from iTunes success. Holy smokes. How people remember that the iPod was almost a failure until iTunes was available on PC, that they realized they had to go ahead and launch iTunes on PC if they had any prayer of selling more iPods. I remember. It's the same thing here. The Apple TV is stupid cheap. It's like $100 set-top box. It's not bad at all. But that's the thing. If you want more people to watch, you gotta get your programs on every platform you can. You gotta. That is just the way it is. So we'll see how well it goes. Hopefully actually, is Apple TV on my Roku now that I think about it? I mean, I don't care because I don't pay for that subscription. In fact, actually, I need to cut back on a few subscriptions. But that brings me to the last burb, the last story of the day, the weirdest story of the week. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you probably the worst way I have ever heard to fight a new threat in our world. In order to fight algorithm addiction. For you see, apparently, people believe that there is such a thing as algorithm addiction. I would argue that it's not algorithm addiction. It's actually just shorts addiction. I wouldn't call it an addiction to the algorithm. It's an addiction to just getting short bursts of nonsense. But, whatever. We agree it's the same thing. Their method for trying to fight the algorithm addiction, you're not going to believe what it is. In order to fight algorithm addiction, a developer has created an endless Wikipedia feed that once you continue to scroll through this Wikipedia article, another one starts seamlessly, basically giving you a TikTok-like feed of nothing but Wikipedia articles. I don't even know if this is smart or stupid, because this is still kind of enforcing the mentality of you got to keep consuming short bursts of information. You gotta just keep on going, keep on scrolling. It's still feeding that, but at least you're theoretically learning something, possibly. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie, this is very, very strange to me. But here's the best part. It does in fact just give you short excerpts of each article and then give you a read more, because of course it does. So yes, it is in fact just like TikTok. But now here's the real question. If this catches on, is it going to cause people to write their Wikipedia articles in such a way that the bot skims clickbait just to get pulled through? And and of course they're not going to do it for funds or anything like that or any sort of gain. It's just for clout. You laugh, but someone's going to do it. You and I both know it. Folks, that's going to do it for this episode of Eagle Eyes on Tech. Thank you so much for listening. I do encourage you to check out my other works, youtube.com/EagleFalcon and twitch.tv/EagleFalcon. Take care, and hopefully we'll see you around. Bye-bye. So I know the developer isn't exactly working for Wikipedia, right? They're two separate entities, and that's how it should remain. But I gotta ask, if I use WikiTalk or whatever we're gonna go ahead and call this stupid thing for swipe up Wikipedia article discovery, when it gets to the end of the year, does that mean I'm gonna get bombarded with endless ads to go ahead and donate to keep Wikipedia free forever? Because, you know, I'm not gonna lie, that might in fact be one of the biggest flaws in this whole scheme, you know, besides the core concept.